We know awkward fighters. Real fighters know awkward fighters. He's not an awkward fighter. He's just a dumb fighter.
You trying to kill me or I'm trying to kill you. You know, I think let's go in here and make this money. You know, it's more of a business tactic than anything.
Tank is not the guy that knows how to sell a fight. Tank cannot sell a fight in his own division. You have the Paul brothers and they come over to boxing. Their idea from day one is we don't have the skills or the experience. What we're gonna do is we'll take on the absolute best guys, but they're gonna spot us some pounds.
At the press conference, Gervonta Davis cranked up the tension by issuing a direct threat to Jake Paul. He warned that he plans to end the fight in brutal fashion, leaving no questions about the result. Davis declared that he's coming for the knockout and the payday, speaking with unwavering confidence in his power and determination.
He's a fighter that's just started fighting. That's, you know how when somebody first come in the gym and like yeah. When somebody first come in the gym and they've been coming for like a little minute, so they think they nice now. They ain't get all the everything down packed, but that's how he fight. I don't think he's an awkward fighter. Awkward is somebody, I don't want to call them names, but awkward is different from him. He's not awkward. We know awkward fighters. Real fighters know awkward fighters. He's not an awkward fighter. He's just a dumb fighter.
Eddie Hearn didn't mince words when weighing in on the unusual matchup between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul. He emphasized the vast difference between authentic boxing and staged entertainment, making it clear that this fight belongs in the latter category. To Hearn, it's not about skill or sporting legitimacy but simply a spectacle built for attention. He even laughed at the idea, calling it hilarious and warning fans not to confuse such exhibitions with elite-level professional boxing. His reaction highlights a growing concern among traditional promoters that entertainment-driven bouts are starting to overshadow the true essence of the sport.
Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis. What can you tell me about that? What can you tell me about why Jake and Anthony has maybe been put to the side for now?
Yeah, they always told us that we were looking at that fight for February next year, and they always said that there was a chance Jake would fight in November. I think, wasn't I the one that broke Jake Paul against Gervonta Davis 6 months ago or something? I knew that they'd agree that deal. I didn't know they were about to announce it then, but I did know that they'd agreed that deal previously. So I don't like it, if I'm honest. I mean, I think we need to really differentiate between boxing and the entertainment concept. And that's what that is. It's a freak show. It's entertainment. It's a lightweight fighting cruiserweight. You know, with, I don't know, bigger gloves. 7 minutes per hour. I don't know what it is, but I understand the market. I understand this freak show shock kind of the world mentality of people potentially tuning in. Is that a step too far? Maybe. I mean, I hated Jake Paul against Mike Tyson. They did massive numbers. I hate Jake Paul against Gervonta Davis. It will probably do massive numbers. So that's when you really have to differentiate yourself. It's when you don't like it, doesn't mean it isn't a, however you want to be involved in it. I don't want to be involved with it. I do respect the fact that it's going to do big numbers.
Ariel Helwani offered a different take, noting that MMA fans often embrace and even celebrate unconventional spectacles, while boxing audiences tend to react negatively to the same idea. He called this a clear double standard. In his view, the Davis vs. Paul matchup isn't traditional boxing, but it does carry entertainment value that people will enjoy. Helwani stressed that it shouldn't be measured against title fights or sanctioned championship events, but rather appreciated as a one-off show. For him, if spectacle bouts are acceptable in other combat sports, boxing fans should also be open to enjoying this fight without piling on criticism.
Generally, I'm sure it'll be a little bit closer, maybe 200 to 150. How much bigger can Tank get? Why would that be somewhat celebrated in MMA, but in boxing it isn't? You know what I mean, Pete? In MMA, we sort of love the freak shows, but in boxing they don't. Why do you think that is? What does that say about us in MMA?
Well, we're a sick bunch of fucks, there's no doubt about that. But I will say...
You agree, right, or no?
Yeah, the idea of the MMA freak show is everybody coming together and saying, oh, we're going to watch a freak show. This is what this is. We know what this is. It is absolutely mental, what we're going to watch here. I think where people get annoyed with Jake is he even got me. You know what I mean? This guy is the greatest outrage farmer of all time. I saw his tweet and I was like, reading it, you know what I mean? And I was like, well, this is exactly what he fucking wants me to do. You know, like, this is, every time I'm doing this, he's in the game of getting eyeballs, and this is ridiculous. As long as, like, you know, why do I like an MMA freak show? Why would I watch Eddie Hall in an MMA fight against Dylan Dennis? I'll be like, this is fucking ridiculous, and I have to watch it. That's the way I feel about Jake Paul and Davis. I will watch it. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's all of us getting together to go to the circus for the evening. I think the reason why there's pushback against it when Jake does it is because Jake, and obviously tactfully, is going like, what are you talking about? This guy's a world champion. I took out Mike Tyson. He's a world champion. And then I'm going to take out Canelo and stuff like this. Like, he's winding us up. He's not agreeing to stipulation that we're all agreeing on, which is, this is a freak show. This is absolutely mental. As long as we can agree with that, we can all enjoy it collectively.
Chael Sonnen took a harsher stance, openly dismissing Jake Paul's legitimacy as a boxer. He argued that the Paul brothers don't bring real boxing skill to the table but instead leverage their fame and money to land high-profile matchups. Sonnen pointed out Jake's pattern of targeting opponents who are established names or respected fighters, despite the glaring gap in technical ability. In his view, these matchups are less about fair competition and more about using influence and cash to stay in the spotlight. His sharp critique echoed the sentiment of many who see the Davis-Paul fight as a money grab rather than a true showcase of boxing talent.
He's not the guy that knows how to sell a fight. Hank cannot sell a fight in his own division. You have the Paul brothers, and they come over the box. Their idea from day one is, we don't have the skills or the experience. What we're gonna do is we'll take on the absolute best guy, but they're gonna spot us some pounds. Hank has one job, that it doesn't make any difference. Boxing is a real sport. My skills versus your skills, of which I am in abundance of, and of which you have none of. Hank is telling anybody that we're listening that there's a size problem. My skills and my experience in boxing, I do not have to wonder who's in the bar tonight. Any bar I go to, I rule the bar. No, it turns out that you don't. Need some big guy to corner you, apparently. Boxing has never stood its ground. Boxing has never been able to explain why Floyd needed a half hour to get rid of a guy who's never boxed before. Hank Davis already began this. When you choose a dum-dum, don't be surprised when he goes out and acts like a dum-dum.
One of the biggest talking points around this exhibition is the massive size gap between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul. Davis is a natural lightweight, while Paul competes closer to cruiserweight, creating a huge physical disparity. This has sparked speculation that the fight could be more about business than competition. Analysts argue that, no matter the outcome, the matchup plays into Jake Paul's favor. A win would give him credibility for beating an elite boxer, while a loss could be brushed off because Davis is so much smaller. These suspicions have only fueled rumors that the fight might be predetermined to align with Paul's career narrative.
Jake Paul, shouldn't he? Jake Paul, shouldn't he?
No, he shouldn't.
You don't think? Sorry. So, I thought we were all unanimous here. Do you think Jake Paul beat Gervonta Davis?
70 pounds is 70 pounds.
Gervonta Davis is very small. 5'5".
Tiny, bro.
5. He's got
Face.
Jake Paul's
He's a little
one.
man.
If Jake Paul's tucking up
Move on.
and absorbing punishment for walking forward, then look, there's a way to run it.
Ryan Garcia drew parallels between this fight and past controversial matchups in boxing history, like Mike Tyson's exhibitions that fans never really demanded. He admitted that the public isn't asking for Davis versus Paul either, but pointed out that the sport often pushes these spectacles forward regardless. Garcia emphasized the glaring size difference, calling the fight unfair from the outset. In his view, even if fans feel uneasy about the matchup, they'll be forced to accept it because the hype and financial incentives behind it are simply too strong to stop.
Bro, that's a fucking disgrace of a fight.
Yeah.
You know it. Just like Mike Tyson, low-key was a disgrace, but we accepted it.
Yeah.
He was 60 years old. I mean, the casuals don't see the weight difference. They see Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis.
Yeah.
And if Gervonta Davis doesn't fuck up Jake Paul, they're going to think Jake Paul is some pound-for-pound champion type of fighter. Gervonta Davis, he's actually really small. Like, when I fought him, he's small. So I just think it's a very unfair fight.
Jake Paul stirred up even more controversy by pulling one of his trademark publicity stunts. In a viral video, he smashed a cake shaped like Gervonta Tank Davis, mocking his opponent in a move meant to humiliate while also generating massive online buzz. True to form, Paul proved once again that he's as much a master of promotion and spectacle as he is of fighting hype. The stunt only added fuel to an already surreal matchup. Seeing the much smaller Davis step into the ring with a fighter Paul's size almost feels comical, yet the intrigue lies in the contrast, skill versus size. Davis brings elite advantages in speed, defense, and footwork, which could allow him to slip Paul's heavy shots and land sharp counters. On the other hand, Paul will rely on his reach and power to impose himself physically. The clash becomes fascinating not because it's balanced, but because of how Davis's technical brilliance measures up against Paul's sheer size and strength. It's a bizarre, yet undeniably compelling spectacle. Even Terence Crawford, widely regarded as one of the top pound-for-pound fighters in the sport, brushed off the Davis vs. Paul matchup as something that shouldn't be taken seriously. He questioned how promoters could justify putting a 195-pound fighter in the ring against someone who naturally competes at 135 pounds. For Crawford, this isn't a legitimate contest but a business play dressed up as a fight. His dismissive stance echoed the skepticism of many within the boxing community who view it as spectacle over sport, underscoring the growing divide between true competition and entertainment-driven events.
So crazy. Why is Gervonta Davis fighting a guy that big? There is some interest in that because you're not going to see Gervonta Davis. You're going to be able to see Gervonta Davis's feet. That's what I'm going to be interested to see because I don't think Gervonta's going to jump out there and try to run up into Jake Paul and try to knock Jake Paul out. What I think Gervonta is going to do is Gervonta is going to move his feet, just going to move, make Jake Paul miss a lot, make Jake Paul look really dumb just by using defense on him and making him swing at the wind, because that is going to be very tough for him to hit a guy that is that little. If you play basketball, for example, and you are a tall 6'1" guy and you try to stand in front of some 5'8", real quick 5'8" guy, trust me, their first steps are going up out of there, those little teeny weeny dudes. So that's going to be a very fun and interesting to watch how that goes down. Now, on the other side, you know what Jake Paul's going to do. He don't have no consciousness. He doesn't have a conscience about what he's trying to do. He's going to go in there and try to hurt a 60-year-old Mike Tyson. He don't care. He wanted to, he's way bigger than Nate Jones when he fought Nate Jones. You think he didn't care about hitting Nate Jones upside the head? He's definitely going to be looking to try to get as much as he can get off on Gervonta Davis. And I see him trying to run up on him, trying to maul him, trying to grab him, trying to club him, trying to do all kind of craziness, man. And it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting thing to watch. Now, let me tell you what I really hope, and I haven't seen for this particular card, but I know that I know it's going to be good, which is the undercard. The undercard for the Canelo Alvarez fight and Terence Crawford fight is absolutely horrendous. There's nothing on the thing that would make you want to watch to tune into that thing